Hello and Ashe. As I promised you, I finished reading this book, and now this is high time to say what I think about this. But beforehand, a little bit about me. This is Sunday, tomorrow I go to school, every Monday I go to school, and it's a very tiresome day, Monday. But I'm enjoying school, I'm enjoying most of it. I'm learning cataloging, I'm learning children's literature, I'm learning storytelling, all those things you need to learn in order to be a librarian. Okay, and I'm more and more deeply believe in being a librarian. So I'm excited. I'm excited because this is an actual step for my future. But enough about me. Let's talk about books. Let's get cracking. Instant Magick by Penczak. Ancient Wisdom, Modern Spellcraft. Everything you think is magic, Penczak. Actually, Aleister Crowley said that the same with his faulty definition of witchcraft. Faulty definition of magic. But this is a bad book. Why is this a bad book, in my opinion? And I would read to you about some of this book. First of all, this book has 204 pages. In the first 60 pages, he is trying to give you the basis of magic. Now, please explain this to me. American witches, American authors, American creators of texts. Why do you assume that I'm a beginner? Okay, especially when Penczak has a mediocrely good Temple of Witchcraft series, which is for beginners, and I admit that I haven't read all of them. His specific writing style irks me, okay, but I did, went through them and read what was relevant. I stopped at the procedures and the works and the texts and the explanations that I saw that are interesting to me. And that series is okay. And his gay witchcraft was boundary breaking at the time. And, it's not that he's a bad author. This book is simply bad. Okay? So, again, he assumes I know nothing and this is the first book that I pick up. Okay? While wasting valuable pages on doing oversized symbols. And then we get to chapter 4, Instant Magic Spells. And he gives you the instant magic trigger, and he gives you all sorts of spells like Banish Illness and Clear Sky and Cosmic Telephone and stuff like that, which are written very much like a D&D manual, which he admits in the end, okay? Okay, he admits in the end this writes very much, at first, this chapter reminded me too much of sci-fi, fantasy, and role-playing game book. Because it is written like that. And, then he gets into spell designs and how to do so while he's talking about the beginning of the book with the spell crafting, okay? And then he talks about advanced instant magic, which I expected to be more interesting, okay? And, location spells. And here, this is what I wanted to read to you. Now, if you are a witch of note and you learned how to do protection spells, you know how to do warding. Right? I mean, it's like if you read a basic book like Lady Angeles Witchcraft Theory and Practice, which I love, by the way, she gives you recipes for wards. But even if your only wards are like shimmering astral things that is being connected to you and your deity to protect the place and doesn't have a physical base, which, by the way, in my opinion, is highly unrecommended. Read the recipe for the wards. I'm going to read this to you, people. To create a ward, cleanse the area of your home and land with light. Commune with the spirits of the land. Call upon the gods and guides for help. And if warding feels right to you, then proceed. Simply hold the idea of the entire space in your mind. Call upon the powers of protection from your paradigm. from the planets and the colors and the elements that speaks most strongly of protection. Perhaps in this case you would call out all forces to be protected in all levels. Imagine the shape of the structure of protection around the area. This could be a bubble or a shield, both of which is fairly common choices among magical practitioners. It could be also a pyramid, crystal, castle, or a mountain. All are acceptable shapes. If you walk with spirits, call upon spirits of protection. Many practitioners call upon the totem of wolf, dog, turtle, or dragon to protect the place. Let the magical style and persona inform you to the form and techniques that will be most powerful for you. As you enter the realm of the more advanced magic, the steps are not always clear-cut. You have to trust yourself and your guardians to create the personal vision that suits your own walking. When done, affirm and fix your creation, call it, check it periodically, and reinforce it. Basically, pray and visualize. This is basically, this book. All those instant magic spells are basically affirmations, okay? And if you read like a Louise Hay book once in your life, you know how to work affirmations. You don't need a spell book for that, okay? And the rest of the book, after he finishes with it, he has some sporadic chapters about healing, which I don't know why instant healing is in this book, besides, because it's a giant episode, okay? It's a really big episode. And after that, okay, now remember, for 60 pages, he talked about this, then he had then he has 40 pages of instant magic spells. Then he has some chapters about spellcraftings, which is mediocre, and then it ends up with tablets and correspondences that you see better on the internet or everywhere. This is a bad book. For me, if I don't have something new to add to a subject, I don't publish it. If there is no new information to publish or explore, I don't publish, okay? There is no reason to write yet 1,001 book about how to do basic witchcraft. A book can teach you how to be a witch anyway, so let those books stop trying, okay? Let those books be the thing that buffers between the time in which you learn yourself how to be a witch from nature or from a teacher or from both. There are plenty of teachers out there. There are, especially, if you're in the US or Canada or England or Europe, there are enough teachers out there, okay? And there are enough books out there. You don't need another how-to book unless you have something new to say. Now, why did I purchase this book to begin with? And I have a very good Buddhist Magic user friend. I love her very much. And she told me, well, sweetie Arden, this book wasn't written for you. This book was written for other people, for beginners. But I won't recommend this book for beginners. I tried to look at the bright side in this book, and that book was as dark as Beelzebub butthole, okay? The thing is this. His mommy, Lori Cabot, which I love, by the way. I don't agree with everything she does, and her system is not perfectly for me, but I love her very much. In her book, Power of the Witch, she started with this programming of instant alpha with her crystal count meditation, which is, by the way, superb. Please try it out. If you are struggling with which meditation would serve you best while casting spells, Lori Cabot's is my top 2 that I do. Mind Emptiness and the Crystal Count meditation. I love it. I think her idea was superb. And she taught you, the user, how to basically how to program yourself to get into an instant alpha. You would find an instant alpha, cover one finger with another like this, and you will be in instant alpha, and then you cast a spell. Okay, even if you are walking in the street or something like that. And that was ingenious for the time that book was written. Okay, so I thought that he would take this and he would make something more comprehensive about this. For instance, he will go and learn systems of self-hypnosis and find a way to make an interesting thing about this with spellcraft, for instance. Okay, finding stuff that are more like, not like, let's conjure Ascended Master Hilarion from his horrible grave of disappearance in which he disappeared because, you know, the theosophy that spewed him mostly died. You know, get into your alpha trigger, feel the elements around you, feel what element is malleable in which situation and how it can be served, and experiment, grow, learn. So I expected that, and it wasn't here. And also, listen, instant magic is a misnomer, because if you don't have the techniques, if you don't have the years of study behind you, it gives you nothing. Okay? The title should be Instant Magic Effect. Okay? Now, in order to get an instant or a quick magic effect, you have to prepare in advance. You can't just, call this thing into being. And it's dangerous to call this thing into being. When you don't, the thing is this is what I'm drilling into my students all the time. You do a spell, first do divination. Throw the bones, read the cards, do something so you won't go in blind. Instant magic doesn't have the chance to perform instant divination, and precognition is sporadic at best at most people. Even the most illuminated people are not completely aware to the effects of everything they do all the time. Okay? And this disclaimer did not exist in this book, by the way. It doesn't exist. So, instant magic effects could be worked by oils. You make an oil, you make a bottle for the oil. The oil stays dormant. It doesn't do anything until you open the bottle and you let the scent and the herbs go out and do a short-term effect for you. Okay? It could be done with potions, it could be done with oils, it could be done with, all sorts of things. What about a quick travel magical kit? What about making one of those? What about, honestly, different techniques that does different effects that are a bit more than just affirmation? I'm sorry, it's not in there. It's just not in here. This book is a complete waste. And he didn't raise up to the challenge as I thought it would. And right now, at this moment, this book tells me, and this book was published in 2014, that Christopher Penczak, is in some sort of like knowledge saturation, where he has enough knowledge to do what he wants to do and he doesn't really want to grow or learn more, which is okay. It's okay, especially if you are not a witch that puts her service out to the people. If you're a witch that you only need to know like 5 things to do and do well, and you don't do anymore because your services are not available to the people, that's fine. But if you're a witch that wants to serve and to be a teacher, your scope of knowledge needs to always be growing. And I think this is like, swamping around. And, after he finished writing his Temple Witchcraft series, which is, again, good. It's a good starting point. It's not like what I would specifically choose to be as the starting point, but it's a good starting point. You know, I made a video about books that I recommend for beginners. Go, read those, enjoy those. Even if you're not a beginner, those books have something to give you. Okay? Anyway, I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed from this book. It's also, you know, still supporting the which god or goddess will I use for this, which is very anti-pagan in my opinion. I have nothing to use from this book that wasn't either previously published or, you know, has been distorted in a way that I would not like to use it. I'm sorry, Christopher. I really hope that your next books are better than this. Goodbye and Ashe. Oh, and by the way, please tell me if you read this book, what do you think about it? Tell me. If you read this, tell me your 2 cents. And you know, Amber Honeyraven, because you're a big reader as I am, I would love to hear what you think about this book. Goodbye, Ashe.